This year for Thanksgiving, Joyce and I decided to go to Mexico and visit my old friend Rigo in the town of Coyotitan. He's in a project called Prohimo. He's disabled and it's a village of disabled people. So we met Susan on the 21st. We flew in first and rented a car, and then she came into Mazatlan. Then we drove north to Coyotitan, which took about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Got in the afternoon and had beautiful weather and just a very good visit. Our host, Norma, which we spent the entire week with, had warned us when we got in that the next morning at 6 a.m. the bands would be playing and marching toward the cathedral in town. Some celebration of independence. I'm not sure whether Mexican independence or for the state or what. But anyway, they did play beautiful, but as Mexican bands play, they were very loud, and at 6 a.m. it was quite a jolt to wake up with this going right past your house. There were at least two bands, and I believe this one you're seeing here is the second band that came through. Thankfully, Susan was energetic and got up at 6 a.m. with her camera and took these photos. Yours truly just kind of slept. Well, I didn't sleep through it. I heard the bands, but I didn't move out of my bed. These were people waiting at the cathedral for the bands to approach. Susan saw this beautiful little girl and asked to take her picture. This was just an absolutely gorgeous little Mexican girl with her younger brother, and they were enjoying the parade. After the first band went by, Joyce decided that she had to see what was happening herself, so she got up and got to see the second band proceed by. Well, finally, Panzone decided to get up, and we had our first Mexican breakfast. Panzone, by the way, in Spanish means big belly, and I guess that is my appropriate name. We were told by Norma, our hostess, that there was a beautiful village of a little town, Pueblo, if you will, that was very similar to Rio de Janeiro, because it had the statue of Christ up on the hill. So we proceeded to go on our first full day on an excursion to San Ignacio. This picture was taken of Joyce and I in the El Central, the center of town, with the big cathedral in the background. As you will see, San Ignacio has very many nice parks, beautiful grassy areas, and statues and gazebos. We just thoroughly enjoyed this town. It was a very, very beautiful time, probably in the low 80s, and just gorgeous. This picture is of Susan with the statue of Christ on the hill in the background. I believe this is looking out from the cathedral grounds. This was looking back at the cathedral in San Ignacio. We were walking through a little serpentine park. These next few pictures are of the area surrounding the statue of Christ. We got some real nice photos up there, and again, the flooring was absolutely beautiful. Flowers and bushes. It's pronounced Jesus. I was practicing, but I don't think I will ever measure up. A view overlooking the city of San Ignacio with the montañas in the background. When we came back from San Ignacio, we took Rigo, my friend, to lunch at a little diner that he and I had gone to 4 years previously. It was fairly new at that time, and just a little empty lot with a guy who set up and made what's known as Mariscos. It's basically a cold dish that's made up of shellfish, including octopus and other things you probably don't want to know what's in it, squid. But it's very delicious. It's in a kind of a tomato soup, if you will, with hot peppers, and it's very good. We had a good time. While we were at Projimo, it wasn't just strictly tourism. I did a little bit of work for my friend Rigo. This is his house, just a small casita as he calls it, and we're trying to get him totally set up on online to give Spanish lessons to those who would like to take them online. He's a very good teacher, and he uses Skype, so you can sign up for classes with him, and you can dial him up for free and look at him. He has a video camera right on his computer, so give it a try. Joyce was being very helpful on this day as well, and she was sweeping off the sidewalks. This is Rigo's little casita. Actually has the one room in front and then a kind of a back room with a water tank and bathroom. He does have a washer and dryer, which is not hooked up, and as you'll see on top, he has an air conditioning unit, which he has to have. It gets extremely hot here in the summertime, and with Rigo's injuries, I believe he had a broken neck. His body has no way of perspiring, so he has to be very careful about not getting overheated, so this is kind of a requirement. This was breakfast during our second day. You can see Norma standing up to the left, and her daughter Ayala sitting down facing us, and then her nephew Trini in the background. His name is actually Jose Trinidad, but everybody calls him Trini. He's a teacher in San Ignacio and a very good singer. And I believe on this day Ayala took Susan to Mazatlan for a little tour. That'll be coming up. About an hour down the road, heading into Mazatlan, Susan and Ayala came across this big semi-truck that was loaded with corn and had made the mistake of dropping one of the wheels off the berm of the road. And in Mexico especially, if you get a wheel off the road, you're more than likely going to flip over or have an accident of some kind. The girls got a little entertainment by watching two of the wreckers set this truck back upright again. It was pretty well demolished, but they were able to get it out of there. This is one of the beautiful cathedrals in Mazatlan. There'll be pictures later on showing, I believe, a wedding and what's called a quinceañera, which is a celebration for a girl when she turns 15. But absolutely gorgeous. This is a picture along the waterfront, the bay at Mazatlan. The buildings you're seeing here is basically in the old town, and just gorgeous. There's these hillsides that they built these beautiful places on. A lot of them are very old, some are fairly new. This is again continuing along the waterfront in the bay. There's, I think, 3 islands off in the background, and as you can see behind Susan, there's a platform, and I believe she said this is where they do like cliff diving into the ocean. Susan and Ayala also went up on top of Lookout Point, where you can see the lighthouse out in the bay, And the next few pictures will show some of the scenes and the views that they were able to get up there. This is back on the beach again, looking north in Mazatlan. The big hotels you're seeing in the background there, the local people call Gringlandia, which is, well, a lot of people from America come down, a lot of drinking goes on, partying, a lot of loud music. Of course, that's loud music is nothing to the Mexicans. I think they have the record there. Right near the house where we stayed, there's a kind of an open air civic center, if you will, and this particular night the locals were putting on a play, some kind of a skit, and we were enjoying it. Joyce had a woman sitting next to her that kept talking to her in Spanish, and I don't think she could probably understand 10% of the words, but we had fun. There's a lot of activity actually in Coyotitan all the time. This was a night when our friend Trini, the nephew of Norma, serenaded us. He sang a number of different songs. He's got a very good voice. He's got a very booming voice. And he had to put on his sombrero so he could kind of get into the mood of things. But we really enjoyed it, and I got to play with his sombrero. This is Panzone dancing to the Mexican music. Well, they may be a couple of school teachers, but they still are kids at heart. Here's Trini and Susan out lighting fireworks outside the house until one of the neighbors complained. We just had to get a picture of Norma cooking in the kitchen. Cocina, I think they call it. She was such a wonderful cook, and she made us 3 meals a day. Room and board there was $10 a person per night. And it was absolutely magnificent. After Susan told us all about her little excursion into Mazatlan, we decided to go in and take the whole family with us. And this is the Grand Bazaar in the old town, the old part of town. And they sell, I mean, everything here. It's quite an experience. I would recommend anybody going to check it out. This was one of many butcher shops located in the bazaar. They had all kind of fruits, vegetables, fish markets. This happened to be one of the butcher shops, and as you can see, one of the butchers decided to feed the friendly dog that stays around. I'm not sure what kind of tacos you have to order to get this pig's head, but if you're so inclined, why, you can take the hog's head home with you and have some kind of stew, I suppose. The box on the left there is just pulverized meat that's been cooked. I think they call it mancheca. This was a sight that we couldn't believe our eyes. This man was unloading the truck you see in the background. He was carrying a full half of beef on his back, and he was pretty muscular, obviously, but he must have carried in 6 to 8 of these beef halves to the various butcher markets there. This is Trini, Norma, Susan, and Joyce standing near our rental car, I believe. Anyway, the old section of town where we parked and did our walking tours. You can see the buildings in the background. They're very colorful and just so charming. This was one of the many plazas in the old town, right near the Opera House. Norma is explaining the significance, I believe, of a statue that's there. This is a picture of Susan in front of the refurbished, rebuilt Opera House. It's absolutely gorgeous. Behind her, if you can see above the door, it says Caballeros. That's the men's bathroom, and believe me, they keep that spick and span. I went in there a number of times, and there's somebody, a tenant in there, mopping the floors and cleaning absolutely constantly. This was an inside area, kind of an open air classroom, if you will, right near the Opera House, where I observed them teaching art one day and I think pottery making another day. A lot of activities going on. This is the main cathedral in the old town of Mazatlan. The next picture you'll see, I believe, is the wedding party that's coming out. I had to stop and take this picture on our way to lunch in Old Town. There's the buildings in Mexico. There's nothing dull or drab, as you can see. Very colorful.